morning.
Good
My
morning.
name is Peter
Good
Hurst, and
morning.
I am the president and CEO of the Greater New England Minority Supplier Development Council, and I hope you enjoyed the CEO Roundtable. We're now going to have a very interesting panel discussion that focuses on how both our corporate members and our certified MBEs looked the disaster of COVID-19 in the eye and came up with a way to pivot. So the beauty of this conversation is that these are really some incredible success stories, because no one could have anticipated how quickly and devastating COVID-19 would be. And on top of that, we've had a lot of other interesting challenges in 2020. But I'm happy to say we have, two corporate members and two MBEs who looked this disaster in the eye and came up with a way to get to the other side. So let me start by introducing our panelists today. We have Scott Baker, who's the managing member of RTD Logistics. We have Ingrid Beckles, who's the manager of supply diversity at Mass General Brigham. We have Tracy Fratz, manager of administration at the Federal Home Loan Bank of Boston. And we have Kimberly Quintana, who's inside-outside sales executive for Quintana Supply. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome, and look forward to a very interesting conversation. So if I would, I'd like to start with Scott. Scott, tell me how you and Ingrid happened to deal with this post-COVID pivot, and tell us what you did. And tell us how it happened.
Sure. Well, we were kind of fortunate in a way. We're deemed an essential service. We provide a lot of transportation services for hospital, healthcare organizations, Mass General and Brigham being one. So activity actually went up for us as far as trips. We're doing a lot of COVID testing, a lot of test runs and trial runs for a lot of the various institutions, as well as we began to start to sell PPE to some of our existing hospital customers. As the supply chains got short, they were unable to get it from their regular vendors. We started actually going out and buying it kind of on the spot market and actually getting that delivered to some of our customers. Throughout the time, Ingrid and I have always had a great relationship in terms of trying to source out opportunities for us within her organization and the number of different units that have existed over time. And that's worked out very well. We actually have something coming up down the road where we're looking at doing some partnerships. But what we were able to do was to meet additional outlets for some of our resources, some of the actual services we pivoted towards. And Ingrid has helped us to facilitate meeting the folks in her organization to kind of give us an opportunity to put those wares in front of them and actually look towards getting some contracts. So it's been a good relationship in that regard. I found that throughout the COVID time period, we've actually had a lot more opportunity to speak to folks. People seem somewhat more engaging and a lot more easily accessible in terms of trying to find some of these solutions. So that has been pretty good for us from between now and then. And hopefully in the future, we can be able to take opportunity or advantage of some of those opportunities.
So Ingrid, had you done business with RTD Logistics before?
Yes, I am proud to say, and this is going back at least 2 decades when I first engaged Scott. I was back at the hospital, Mass General Hospital at the time, managing our inpatient psychiatric unit and utilize what was then Skycom, now RTD Logistics, to deliver documents and specimens from one entity to the other. That service over the years, I never had an issue. I can always rely on the services of Scott and his team to get me what I wanted when I wanted. And sometimes this was very short time frame in order to get this completed. So based on that, having that relationship, once I began managing the supplier diversity program for the organization, it seemed to me to be a simple agreement to move forward with Skycom, now RTD Logistics, and continue to develop that relationship. And moving forward to where we are today, it's a relationship that's built on added value, the added value that this company, this supplier provides to the organization, meeting the needs prior to COVID as well as during COVID. I clearly remember one evening, and it was late after work hours, when I got a call and requesting, can you reach Scott at Skycom because we need to get what's it, the ventilators
Yeah.
from one location to another, and we need to have this done by first thing in the morning. Right away, yes, I can do it. I knew who to contact, and I did. The response was positive. Not only did they respond, we can do this, but the products were delivered on time to the satisfactory of everyone involved. And I couldn't say more. They stood up when needed, they were counted, and moving forward, it is the type of relationship this organization continues to foster.
That's outstanding. So thank you, Scott. Thank you, Ingrid.
Thank
So
you, Ingrid.
Tracy, Kimberly, tell us about what you've done during COVID-19.
Oh, the list is long. It just, as you know, came all of a sudden. The phones and the requests coming from so many different places for supplies were at an incredible all-time high, which is where I met Tracy. And we found, my husband started the company 30 years ago, and one of his main goals throughout the 30 years was always to save his customers money. So when we hit with the pandemic, that really wasn't an option. We just had to be able to get supplies to keep our customers in business, which has been his main objective throughout the entire time. I will say that I say he because he's really the core of the company, has sourced out so many different products, so many different supplies when other vendors and other suppliers couldn't bring masks to the table. He was able to fly them in from overseas, just forecasting all the products that were running short and dry here in the US. So I can't say that any of it was easy, and it wasn't, light in any way, but he was able to maintain and sustain his companies and his customers being able to keep their doors open through this, no matter what the price, also trying to keep costs low at every level. I'd say right now our biggest struggle is shortage in glove supply, and there's a high demand for gloves. More people are using gloves than they ever have at one time in our entire nation. So our typical customers are continually reaching out for gloves, and he continues to source daily. Where can I get more? Where can I get more? And how do I keep prices down? So even though the pandemic hit, it still remains his goal. Another product was wipes. So I'm just using these as examples that in the beginning, it was anywhere we can get them, at any price. Our customers at that point just wanted to keep their doors open. As there's been a buildup of supply, I'm still able now to bring some prices down on certain products, and I'm more than happy to do it because I know this has been very costly for everybody. And once again, our main goal is just to keep stock. So when somebody calls, we said, yes, we can get it to you, which has happened with Tracy. I would let her speak about that though.
So Tracy, tell us how this came about. Was this a first time you did business with Quintana, or had you done business with him before?
This has definitely been a first time for us using Quintana. When COVID hit and everybody in the world were looking for products and having difficulty finding them, we reached out and used our partnership with the Greater New England. and asked for any of their MBEs that were able to supply products to corporate members. Immediately got that list. Quintana was top of the line to call for us. And I have to say the response was extremely positive. It was quick. Setting up a new vendor for most people is not easy, particularly for the bank. It takes a long time to set up a new vendor relationship for direct billing, all of those things that you have to do when you set up a new vendor. The process, Quintana made the process extremely easy, very quick, set us up online to be able to order online. For me, I like that personal touch. I like to be able to just call my vendors and tell them what I need, in particular with COVID. As Kimberly pointed out, it was very hard to find products. Knowing that wipes wasn't going to be an option, I needed somebody with experience and knowledge of what they sell to help me come up with an alternative solution and have a solution quickly. Kimberly was fantastic. She knew her product. She knew what they had in stock. She knew what she could get me quickly and suggested the products that would help us to get the cleaning done effectively. And she recommended how much we would need based on the amount of sanitation stations we were setting up. Offered alternative solutions when maybe the product I wanted wasn't available. And again, as I said, got that quickly, got that out to us. As I mentioned previously, we have a disaster recovery facility that we needed to also get products out there. This is a facility that's not manned all the time. They were perfect in the delivery, setting up delivery times that were working well for the folks that had to go into the office to receive them or out to our facility that's not manned all the time. So they were very easy to work with. And I have to say that, I haven't used the online ordering tool because I enjoy my conversations with Kimberly, and I know that she's always there, right there to answer the phone. The other thing I'll say about Quintana and Kimberly in particular was I still hear from her regularly. She'll reach out to me every week, every other week, just to see, how are your supplies? Do you need anything? Are you getting low on anything? What can we send you? Just want to let you know the wipes that you originally wanted are now in stock, if you want to order those, very, very communicative, very on top of things, extremely knowledgeable of their products and what they have to offer. And I have to say, COVID, let's hope it doesn't last forever. And, we don't have to worry about all this cleaning stuff, but I look forward to when we go back to the office, exploring some of the other products that Quintana can offer us outside of the cleaning world. It'll be great to continue to do business with them.
Thank you, Tracy.
So thank you, Tracy, for that, and thank you, Kimberly. So I, like you, I do hope that this is over soon, but part of me says this is probably going to last into 2021. So for both Ingrid and Tracy, do you see additional opportunities to do business with RTD Logistics and with Quintana in 2021 if the pandemic is still affecting all of us?
I would say pandemic or no pandemic, once we get through this, which I'm quite certain we will, I continue to seek opportunities for diverse suppliers, focusing on local suppliers. But so the answer to your question, Peter, is that yes, we are currently looking for opportunities to engage RTD Logistic outside of PPEs, outside of what our existing relationship, moving forward, how we can continue to engage and keep this supplier so they can continue to grow, so they can continue to employ residents within the city, within the state, and to develop their business. That's what our supplier diversity program is all about, and that continues to be a focus point for us.
And I will say for federal home loan, as I mentioned before, absolutely, we will consider all the other products that Quintana has to offer, you know, and start purchasing more supplies from them. You know, when you find a vendor and a supplier that's as good as Quintana, you don't want to lose them. You know, that the personal touch that they offer is fantastic. And, you know, again, you know, it's not a vendor that I want to lose. And I will say, you know, I never talked to Kimberly about this, and I'm not quite sure how far Quintana ships, but I may have supplied their information to all of the other federal home loan banks around the United States if they're looking for product with a vendor that has been fantastic. So I'm not sure if Kimberly has heard from any of the other federal home loan banks, but I did pass out her information.
I have not yet, Tracy, but I would be happy to. Yes, we will ship nationwide. We ship overseas. We ship globally. And I want to say thank you to the council, because I have met virtually or over the phone so many wonderful customers, people. It's been a very learning experience. We have a loyalty to our customers, and yes, we do hope that there's a return on the other side of this at some level. You know, some of the customers that we've been able to establish through all this, Tracy, which has been a pleasure as well to work with. And, but because of the council, Encore Boston Harbor Casino has picked us up as a vendor. Disney out in California has picked up us as a vendor. ESPN, they're nationwide. But this just goes to show you how valuable the council is at some level, but also that all these vendors have dried up. It's not just here in our region.
Yeah.
You know, it's literally nationwide. It's globally. I have a customer in Puerto Rico that, you know, contacts me. But as far as a company, a small, diverse company, I feel very proud of our company and my husband and our team for really pushing this out, because some of the larger vendors have withdrawn for a few months. We still don't know where they are, you know, and we're happy to supply anybody at any time with what they need, whether they were a previous customer or whether they're going to be a future customer. You know, this is our world. This is what we do. And we really here are just to support everybody to be able to get what they need when they need it, if we can supply it.
So Kimberly, thanks for those very kind words. You know, one of the great things about this panel is that this really is a panel about success stories involving 2 of our corporate members and 2 of our certified MBEs. So what I like to do now is pivot to make this more looking forward, not just for the 4 of you, but first I'd like to start with Kimberly and Scott. Can you just tell everyone what you do so that everyone listening and watching will understand exactly what things you can do for their companies? Not only our corporate members, but what you can do for our larger MBEs. So if you could just take a few minutes, each of you, and tell us what you do.
Ladies first.
Thank you, Scott. Oh, well, what we do and what I do. What we do is take a customer, look at their overall spend, and try to eliminate costs. Basically a one-stop shop. So if Tracy needed trash bags, paper towels, toilet paper, wipes, any of her needs, if it's something that we feel we're competitive on, we will try to bring her cost down to a minimum and bring delivery costs down as well. We have our own truck. If we have a big enough order, we'll deliver ourselves free of no charge. That's the big and the small picture of what do we do. We walk into a manufacturing company, look at everything they purchase, and they might have, I don't know, 12 to 20 different vendors they purchase it from, which is costing them money. We try to consolidate it all. We try to keep stock for our customers on a regular basis. If we have anybody that we know needs 20 cases of gloves per month, we're going to keep them in stock so there is no lead time. We're always proactive in that way. Through the pandemic, what I have done, it's a learning experience throughout the whole thing. When I've had a request, I had one from Tracy about the dividers. This is something that we would never carry in stock because there was no need for them. And my answer is never no. My answer is, let me find out. You know, what any customer may ask of us, my answer is always going to be, let me find out. If I can't be competitive, then the answer will be, you're better off going over here. But I have sold some items throughout the pandemic that I would never consider part of Quintana supply inventory for our customers. But if that's what they need, I'm going to say, give me a little time, give me 24 hours, let me see what I can find, and I'll get back to you. So not sure if that answered your question entirely. No. So the question being, what do we do? Let's see, we supply our customers with what they need to run their companies. That's a broad audience though. We have medical manufacturers, we have aerospace companies, we have banks, we have hair salons, we have a lot of medical facilities. We have Fuji, who makes print heads. So what we do in a big and small picture is walk in to see what their overall spend is and try to eliminate some costs so they can run their company effectively and make a profit on their end. Did that answer the question?
Oh, that did. Thank you, Kimberly. So Scott, tell us what you do.
Okay, so essentially, you know, RTD Logistics is a full-service express delivery and logistics company. We specialize in helping companies that pretty much do what Kimberly just said. We come in and analyze your activities as far as shipping and logistics services, figure out where you're efficient, where you're inefficient, and try to basically offer you a complete supply chain solution from pickup to delivery of anything you need delivered, from small business documents to truckloads of goods. We might even be able to talk, Kimberly, in terms of services you use and what we might be able to buy from you. But that's what we do in a nutshell. We do that through utilizing technology, efficiency of fleet, customization devices, and basically ways to help. For instance, one of our larger customers has always been laboratory and hospital services. So doctors all day are taking tests from patients, being picked up from couriers to go taken to the laboratory for testing. Results of the tests are then couriered elsewhere. We do those in terms of routed deliveries, same day on-demand stat deliveries for primarily large healthcare institutions, as well as all industries throughout America. So, you know, auto industry, law firms, banks, you know, retail pharmacies. But in a similar manner, essentially we have a customer who has a need for transportation in some way, shape, or form, looking to have it transported in secure, efficient manner. Of course, costs are concerns these days, and we try to maximize efficiencies for customers in that regard as we set up programs for them to move product from one to another location, be it from a shipper to an end user. We're also looking at e-commerce solutions for some of the customers providing last mile services. So you get your Amazon.com deliveries. We may have them dropped at our loading dock tonight, organize and route them into deliveries for last mile services within our geographic locations in our areas. We're able to do that both locally and on nationwide scale. And that's in a nutshell what we do. We have a robust customer service staff who helps deliver those services to our customers. We're also available fully on the internet for tracking, tracing, servicing your deliveries, whether you want to put them in yourselves. You can actually see them in real time being picked up and delivered. So technology, transportation, and reliable services are what we do.
So thank you. So Tracy and Ingrid, just like I gave them an opportunity to do their commercials, I know both of you are very committed to minority business development and supplier diversity. Could you tell us what types of things you've been looking for in 2020, and more importantly, what do you see as some of the things you're going to be looking for in 2021 across the whole gamut of goods and services that minority businesses sell?
Tracy, you can go first.
Thank you. For me, obviously with the 2020, it's all been cleaning supplies, gloves, those safety precautions for our employees. Although I will point out Quintana, Kimberly in particular, looked for the dividers for the workstations and the extenders for the workstations for once we go back, when we go back. We'll decide whether or not we need to do that. So that's pretty much been it for the nutshell of 2020 for me. We'll say in the future, and particular to my role, we do have decentralized purchasing in the bank. But for me, my role is mostly anything facility related, the office services team, the copy room, the mail room, kitchen supplies, all of that is primarily what I do. But we are a small company, so I'm very close with the IT folks, and I'm kind of up on what they might need. I pretty much know everything that the bank needs to purchase. So even though if I'm not purchasing it myself, I'm aware of what's happening throughout the company. And I've been with the Federal Home Loan Bank for 30 years. So, and I have been doing the supplier diversity portion for more than 10 years, attending events, making sure I'm up on the networking, doing the whole speed dating, as we call it. And so I am aware of what the company needs and what they're looking for. And I'm up on the project portfolio so that I can be aware of what's happening. So.
Cute. Ingrid.
Yes. At Mass General Brigham, as supply diversity manager, I sit in supply chain, particularly in contracts. So I am aware of RFPs, the contracts coming up for renewal, and as each RFP, each new contract, I'm aware of it, and it's an opportunity to engage a diverse supplier. And I utilize those relationships internally as well as those opportunities to make sure that diverse suppliers are included, regardless of category, whether or not it's LGBT, minority, or woman-owned businesses. And more recently, our CFO, Peter Markel, has been pushing for increase diversity spend and continue to develop those relationships. It has been one of our 2020 goals and will continue to be a goal in 2021 as well. So he has been communicating with our department heads and pushing for that increased engagement. As I have said to him during one of our conversations, diverse suppliers are looking for opportunities. We can have discussions all year long, but unless there are engagements, we are not doing what we're supposed to be doing. The engagement is what counts. That's where a supplier can develop. If the supplier has a good service or product, but cannot provide service to the entire organization, how about we looking at what entities may be able to utilize those supplies instead of thinking about the entire organization, allowing the supplier the opportunity to develop. We have partnered with uh, affiliates to do work on the mentoring portion on behalf of the organization. So that's going well. More recently, I've had requests from real estate, our permanent staffing team in HR, of course, freight, and of course, PPE, which is in high demand at this time. As a large organization in healthcare, you can imagine there's a huge need for PPE items. I am proud to say, as an organization during the pandemic, we did not run out of supplies. And now there's preparation for potential surge, second surge. We are in the process of preparing for that as well. So those opportunities continues to be available. The inclusion of diverse suppliers continues to be a focus for the organization. Increasingly, more and more department heads are on board with this process because it's driven from leadership, which is what we've always wanted. It's happening. The work is being done. There's also opportunities within marketing since the organization is rebranding as well. So this is ongoing, way beyond 2021.
So thank you for that. So I'd like to just take a few minutes and use the title of this session, which is post-COVID partnerships, to have all of our listeners learn something that they probably didn't know before. And I'd first like to start with Kimberly and Scott. If you're sitting here this morning speaking to our corporate members, every minority business, because I used to have an MBE, wants to increase your revenue so you can hire more people so that you can grow and be successful. As we think about coming to the end of 2020, as horrific as it's been, as upsetting as it's been, and we think about moving into 2021, what would you say to our corporate members that they could do to help you be more successful and more effective? Because that's part of the partnership, and certainly we're one of your partners, but I figure we got this opportunity, we have this platform, we have this stage. Let's use it to communicate to all those who are listening in. What do you think you could, get from our corporate members to be more effective?
Scott, you can go first this time.
Thank you. Well, one of the things I think would help significantly is I don't want to say transparency, but just a more of a formal process of, once you get engaged with a corporate member, identifying opportunities, if you have a chance to participate, be it in a bid or in a request for information, having a formal, say, exit strategy or exit interview. Should you be successful or not be successful? If you could get one of those, metrics from every one of the engagement that you had, that would give you a much easier way to benchmark. Oftentimes, myself, a lot of my colleagues I speak to are frustrated because we get invited to a lot of processes or opportunities, but don't really get much feedback once the opportunity goes by the boards and it either is with the incumbent or with another party, not yourselves, and it's just, I think that would be a much more productive engagement process, basically. I also think what would help is, some dedicated input into the procurement process. One of the things I found during the pandemic is that we've had a lot more success speaking with decision makers, and again, I hate to, in light of the circumstances, but they seem to be much more outward in listening to opportunities to, in fact, maybe help them out from tough positions, or perhaps maybe genuinely giving us an opportunity. But I found there have been much more ears available to speak to these days, much more folks, as Ingrid alluded to, coming to the table, maybe because of the pandemic or some of the pressure these larger organizations are getting. But I have found that opportunities seem to be more present and more sincere, and we're getting much deeper level of engagement. I'd like to see that continue post-COVID, you know, as you guys talked about. When no one could get supplies, a lot of folks came to us and we actually went and risked things and went out and got them and supplied some of our largest healthcare providers with those supplies. You know, as things start to get back to normal, you're wondering, will those same doors still be open? Will you still have the same access, and we still have the opportunity to perhaps turn some of those into longer term engagement? So I think that looking forward would be a great help and have a lot more feedback and I guess openness as to those policies going forward, because you know, we do seem to be talking to folks. I just hope they materialize into things in the future.
Thanks, Scott. Kimberly?
Well, I like what Scott just said about being able to talk to people that you would not typically be able to talk to. I've had owners of companies call me. They would not be on the list if the pandemic wasn't happening. It was a pleasure speaking to them. And I felt like, seeing how they've called me, now I have their contact information, and now I feel comfortable in calling them back. So that is a big thing. Will those doors still be open when the pandemic stops? I would hope so, because we've treated everybody equally. And I feel like being a small business like Scott probably feels the same way. If we're cost competitive, I wouldn't be able to understand why they would go back to the vendor that just went dry. So the feedback part would be important on that as well, is why would you choose to go back to, because if we do have a second wave, are they going to go dry again and my phone's going to be ringing? We all hope not. I think some of the customers that we have established through this realize that, and they will stay with us, like Tracy, as long as we're able to cost competitively get her what she needs. But I don't know if I have anything to add to what Scott said. There's just an unknown world out there. I do enjoy being able to talk to the people that make decisions. That's my biggest, instead of going through 6 channels, you know. Although the people that have had to make decisions are getting them done pretty good as well, quickly, because people need supplies. So I don't know if I have anything to add to it.
Oh, that's very helpful. So Ingrid and Tracy, you've obviously have been successful this year in creating these 2 success stories. More generally, can you speak to the MBE community and tell them what they could do to allow you to buy more goods and services from them?
I can go first this time. First thing that comes to mind, Peter, is relationships. Developing the relationships with persons like I am, supply diversity professionals, your contact within the organization, being persistent, I would say that's a requirement. Not only is that a requirement, but also the fact that the engagement with MBE and an organization, it's never about your certification as a diverse supplier. It's always about the added value that you bring to supply chain. That's the deal breaker right there. So when you think about engagement, when you present to an organization, whether it's an end user or buyer who is within that organization, you need to put your best foot forward. And I'm not just saying that. It is true. It is the reality. As the manager of supplier diversity, I'm not the decision maker. I am the face of the organization. I go out there, I meet with the supplier, I develop the relationship. When the opportunities become available, I present the supplier to our end users and department head. If you don't bring your best foot forward, your end game, it makes me look bad. It makes other diverse suppliers, whether it's minority or woman-owned, looks bad, because then there are existing myths, and those of us who have been out there doing this work for a number of years are well aware of this. So when we say this is an opportunity, you have to trust that we know what we're talking about, and you have to help us meet the expectation of the organization. At the end of the day, that's what counts. Quality, pricing, everything else is equal. That gives you additional opportunities within the organization. And I'm pretty sure this is not just to Mass General Brigham or to healthcare, but it's for all major organizations across the board. This is not easy work. This is hard work, and we have to work together to make this happen, to be successful. It requires all hands on deck. As some of you know, I've been doing this work for a number of years, and it's never just about your certification. It's all about the added value that you bring to the organization. And when I meet with our leaders across the organization, sometimes I hear, oh, it may cost more for us to do business. I then ask, where's the data to prove that? A lot of times it doesn't exist. It's based on what the supplier can provide us and basically the volume. If you can absorb a higher volume, more than likely through the manufacturer, you can get a better pricing. There is also existing relationships with Mass General Brigham as a large organization with our manufacturers. We can utilize that to continue to foster those relationships with diverse suppliers as well. So it's not an end all. It's each opportunity is unique. It can look differently, but always you have to put your best foot forward. Don't take anything for granted.
Thank you, Ingrid.
You're welcome.
Tracy.
Well said.
Yeah, I was just going to say I 100% agree with Ingrid to definitely, bring your best, be prepared, do your homework, understand who you're going, which corporate member you're going to try to gain business from, understand what their needs are. We have a very good process, I think. A lot of people have met Dominic Ferrari in the Federal Home Loan Bank. He's the vendor management program manager. He attends a lot of events. He's always up with all of the suppliers and making sure he understands who they are and what they bring to the table. But one of the things, as Ingrid pointed out, is we want to see your capability review. We want to see what your capability statement has to say, what you can bring to the table, and know that you're prepared. We complete capability reviews every year. Dominic completes as many as he can throughout the year. And of course, those capability reviews are dependent on what is in the project pipeline and what we have available for opportunities. But if he does see a high potential vendor that maybe we don't need that opportunity for 2020, but we might need that for 2022, he'll complete those vendor reviews. He'll invite them into the office, get them in front of the right people, and make that introduction so that when the opportunity becomes available, those introductions are made and we are clear on what each party can bring to the table as far as the MBE and also us as a corporate member. Not always is the corporate member the right fit either. So again, we do these capability reviews. We make sure that we do our homework ahead, and we ask that the MBE also do their homework and understand who we are as a bank. being a bank, we're very highly regulated. We also have strict guidelines on what, for information security and our IT technology. So again, if the MBE does their homework and we do our homework, eventually there becomes a good fit there, and we'll do our homework so that we can have those reviews done ahead of time. We try to complete at least 10 capability reviews a year, but Dominic is really good about getting those done and making sure that they're in the right fit. We have had a few of our MBEs that, came in for capability reviews. They participated in a bid for a small project and now has gained business and now completed maybe 2 or 3 projects for us, and they've become our preferred vendor.
So we have about 5 minutes left, and I'd like to end this very wonderful conversation by first thanking you for participating, but also you've shared with everyone listening what MBEs can do to be more effective. Scott and Kimberly, you shared what you thought the corporations could do to help you be more effective and to be more successful. I consider GNEMSDC to be one of your partners, and both our corporate members and our certified MBEs. So I'd like to close with just a question. What can we as a partner do as we hopefully have a glide path to the end of 2020 and start 2021 to be more effective in serving your needs?
Well, I think you guys do a pretty good job, Peter. One of the things that I think helps a great deal, we have a new marketing person on board now, and just some of the services you provide as far as the events and the forums you provide, just getting an awareness of where we fit within the realm of the GNMSDC, corporate procurement buyers, and a way to reach them is really what we need. Once we can, use those avenues to kind of connect with the right folks, get a sense of what's going on in their organizations. I think your organization is a great facilitator of that. So yeah, I like the programming, and I like the folks who run the program. That it seems to work well for us. So just keep doing what you're doing as far as I'm concerned. And hopefully, this upcoming year presents more opportunities to actually get folks together and build those relationships that are so important. But in that regard, I think it's all it's supposed to be.
For the Federal Home Loan Bank, I'll say, again, keep doing what you're doing. Being the conduit to the MBEs and the corporates, being available. Many times I've just sent an email on to Joanne and said, we have this last minute need. Can you tell me who does X, Y, and Z? And quickly, within, I can't say it's been more than a day, if that, we've gotten lists back of these that provide the services that we're looking for. And that is a tremendous value, I think, to a corporate member to be able to just reach out to Greater New England with a last minute need and get that information. And then obviously the information that you provide on a regular basis on the MBEs that are available and what their services are. So please continue that. That would be great.
Thank you, Tracy.
For me, it's just,
Kimberly, you can, thanks.
yeah, no, I, again, don't have that much to add, except we appreciate you passing out our name and recommending us to whoever reaches out to you, because they have reached out to us. So that part is working.
Great. So Ingrid, you got the last word.
Okay. Thank you. I have to say, as you know, as a former board member, I highly recommend GNEMSDC. It's an ongoing relationship. I still remember my early days as the program manager at Mass General Brigham. It's that relationship that helped me to not only grow in my role, but also to foster relationships with the organization and minority-owned businesses. Being available to us as corporate members, even as supply diversity professionals, the team of professionals that are members of the council, we meet, we discuss. I see them as partners. I can reach each and every one of them for the most part. I know there are some newer ones that I don't yet have that strong relationship with, but those who, like myself, have been doing this for a number of years, we do reach out to each other and learn from each other, share information about suppliers, figure out what's working, what's not working. Those relationships could not have developed without the support of the council. Everything that was said earlier, I echo those sentiments, but I also want to leave the statement on the table. Joanne has been an invaluable asset to me personally in my role. There hasn't been a time that I have reached out to Joanne and did not get a response. If she did not have the answer right away, she would then tell me, I'm working on this, I'm reaching out to folks, I will get you the information, and it usually happens. And that is tremendous for me as within what I do, within my role, having that additional support. So this is a relationship I continue to foster, and I continue to advocate for diverse suppliers across the organization, across the state, the region, but more so focusing on our local minority businesses.
So on behalf of Joanne, let me thank you for those very kind words. I'm sure she'll appreciate that. So thank you for an interesting conversation today. I want to thank Kimberly and Tracy and Ingrid and Scott. I thank you for the fact that you created these success stories. I know that you're going to continue to create success stories in the future, and I hope that GNEMSDC can be part of that in some small way. So thank you. God bless. Stay safe.